Yo, what's going on guys? Today I wanted to talk about some commonly made mistakes by both new and veteran players, and hopefully I can get you out of here doing significantly more damage with no effort at all. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, to start off I want to talk about Rouge. Alright, let's take a look at her skill 2. Activates when assigned in back row in battle. Affects self and 2 allies on both sides. But in order to understand what this actually means for her, you gotta understand what back row and front row means. Alright, so let's take a look at that now. You see, position 1 is front row. Position 2, she's in the back, right? They're in the front right here. She's in the back, right? Position 3 in the front. Position 4 in the back. Position 5 in the front, right? So this right here, this two position 2 and position 4 are the back row, and position 1, 3, and 5 are front row. Okay, so what that means for Rouge is that she only activates that second skill buff when she is in either position 2 or position 4. Now, most of her buffs are max HP, which mostly affects Cinderella and maybe Blanc if you need more sustain. However, her skill 2 has an attack damage up, so if you're going to use her, even if the buff is not much, you want to utilize her to her full potential. I see this a lot where people will just put her in random positions, so let's see how this team will perform if she cannot activate her skill 2. Here we go, nearing the end. Alright, let's take a look. 1.493 billion, 545 million, right? She was not able to activate her skill 2. Now let's do this again and see how the team will do if Rouge is able to activate her skill 2 and buff Cinderella and Summer Anise. And there we go. Let's take a look. You can see now that Cinderella did 1.7 billion damage and Summer Anise did 578 million. So Rouge definitely had more effect on Cinderella, but Anise did more damage as well. Therefore, it is important to place her in the right position even if you don't have these units. Now, keeping in line with the Electro team, the next character that I wanted to talk about is Maiden Ice Rose. Let's take a look at her skill. Particularly her skill 1, activates when entering burst stage 1, affects self when mana is 0, mana recovers by 1, mana can be accumulated up to maximum of 12, all accumulated mana is consumed when entering burst skill. Activates when using full burst, affects self when mana is above 1, mana replenishes by 1. Mana can be accumulated up to a maximum of 12, all accumulated mana is consumed when using burst skill. So what that means is that whenever someone is entering burst skill 1 or full burst, she gains 1 stack of MP, right? And that can stack up to 12. Now, if you look at her other skills, they scale on the number of stacks that she has, right? And she consumes all the stacks and does damage based on the number of stacks consumed. So typically she is used as an off-burst DPS and a buffer, because she affects all electric cold allies except for self, right? And she increases both damage as strong element and attack. But people just slap her under and then don't really use her at all. So what happens is that she accumulates all these stacks throughout the battle and she never is able to consume them. And so doing that loses you a lot of damage, because once she has 12 stacks, all these skills are based on her stack count, so she can dish out a lot of damage that you're missing out on. So what you want to do is, you want to make sure that she is the last secondary DPS to burst, right? So what I mean by secondary is that she is the main damage dealer, right? She deals way more damage than Anise, and so she would be my primary DPS, she would be my secondary DPS, right? So I want to make sure that she is the last secondary burst. So let's take a look what that looks like in practice. So at first she has 0 stacks, and then when entering burst stage 1 for the first time, or whenever she has 0 stacks, she gains 1 stack, and then when entering full burst, she gains another stack, all the way up to 12. And you can see all that with the stack counter that she has over here. Here you can see I didn't burst with Maiden, and she ends up having 12 stacks of her ability that's just being wasted. So let's take a look at the damage when not utilizing her stacks. 287 million. Now, I'll do this again, but now I am going to burst. So right here, around the 30-second mark, is the last time your secondary DPS will be able to burst. You can see that her damage right now is 240 million. Now, I will turn off the auto burst and then manually burst with Maiden. As you can see, after one burst, she increased her damage output by another 230 million, essentially doubling her damage. And here is the final result. Again, doubled her damage output. Now last but not least, I want to take a look at Crown and Naga. Let's take a look at Naga's skill 2, alright? The second part especially, it says, activates after 5 normal attacks, affects 2 ally units with the lowest HP percentage, right? And recovers some HP for them. Now what is not stated, and what you have to know just from playing the game and understanding how the game is programmed, is that when everybody is at full HP, this buff applies from left to right, so this would apply to position 1, right? Now that's important because if we look at Crown and her skill 2, her skill 2 states right over here, activates when recovery takes effect, affects all allies, attack damage up by 20%, right? And so whenever everybody is at full HP and she's not in position 1, Naga's healing effect will not affect this and your entire team will lose this damage buff. So generally, you always want to put Crown in position 1, regardless if you're using Naga or not, because other healers might be following the same mechanics. So you always want to make sure that Crown has the highest possibility of gaining that buff. You can see that Crown is in position 1, and therefore she will be benefiting from Naga's healing, thus proccing her ability and giving the entire team the attack damage buff. And there it is. Let's take a look at the damage. Now let's try this again, but instead we'll put Crown in position 4. Alright, let's go. Now we got Crown in position 4, so she will not be getting healed by Naga, so the team will not be getting the attack damage buff. Already, you can see that the overall damage is lower, but let's take a look at the numbers. Okay, Mermaid, 654 mil. Asuka, 1.238 billion. Scarlet, 970 million. As you just saw, simply switching the position resulted in a significantly higher damage output. For now, that's all I wanted to go over. Hopefully, I was able to help you out and increase your damage with minimal effort. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more breakdowns like this in the future. Leave a like and comment down below, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.